Celtic's Scottish Cup semi-final opponents just confirmed their manager ahead of that Hampton clash, and there's a major update on a big name being linked with the Celtic job that every fan needs to hear. Plus, Dyson Maeda is putting his Celtic teammates on notice before tonight's match, and Alistair Johnston has opened up on what life really looks like behind the scenes as a Celtic player. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. St Mirren have confirmed Craig McLeish as their manager until the end of the season, and the timing couldn't be more relevant for Celtic fans. The two clubs are about to meet twice in the space of a few weeks, first in the league, and then far more importantly, in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampton. That semi-final is the one that really matters. It's Celtic's best chance of a trophy this season, and St Mirren will be going there believing they can cause an upset. McLeish has been in charge on an interim basis since earlier this month, and the club have been impressed enough to hand him the role until the end of the campaign. His early results show a team that can be well organised, but one that can also lose control when games open up. That's something Celtic will want to exploit. For Celtic fans, the memory of the League Cup final against St Mirren still stings. St Mirren pressed high, Celtic struggled to deal with it, and the cup was lost. The message is simple this time around. Don't let history repeat itself. Celtic go into that semi-final as heavy favourites. They have the better squad, and when they play to their level, the gap is clear. The task is actually doing it over 90 minutes on the day. Now for the main story, as Craig Bellamy's stance on the Celtic manager job has become a lot clearer, and the news might surprise a few people. Bellamy's name has been doing the rounds in connection with the Celtic job for some time now, and it's easy to see why. Since taking charge of Wales, he's had his side playing on the front foot, pressing high and getting bodies forward. That attractive style has caught the eye of clubs. But according to BBC Sport Wales, Bellamy is not actively looking to move on at this stage. Despite earlier suggestions that he might see international management as a short-term stepping stone, his stance appears to have shifted. There is now a much longer-term focus in place, with Bellamy reportedly targeting Euro 2028, a tournament that Wales will co-host. That has become central to his thinking. Wales World Cup hopes came to an end in Cardiff after a 1-1 draw with Bosnia and Herzegovina, with Bellamy's side going out 4-2 on penalties after leading through Dan James. It was a tough exit, but the project is still ongoing. For Celtic, the BBC report makes clear this is more background noise than anything concrete. The club will explore their options in the coming months, but there's nothing to suggest Bellamy is close to taking the job. His focus right now is still very much on Wales. In other news, Dyson Maeda is putting his Celtic teammates on notice ahead of tonight's Scotland vs Japan match at Hampton. Maeda is expected to feature in attack for Japan tonight, which creates a unique situation. On the other side of the pitch will be Kieran Tierney and Anthony Ralston, two men he trains alongside week in, week out at Celtic Park. He knows their game inside out, and they know his. The Celtic forward didn't hold back when asked about it. He said, "I don't think I'll have a chance like this. A lot of fans and supporters will come to see me in Glasgow. I've heard that a lot of Japanese people here will come to see me. I'd like to play in front of those people as soon as possible. I just want to play the way I always do, and that's exactly what makes him so dangerous." Maeda doesn't change his game for the occasion. He presses from the front, chases lost causes, and makes defenders uncomfortable every single minute he's on the pitch. Scotland like to build from the back, which plays right into his hands. Hampton has become a familiar stage for the Celtic winger, and he clearly loves it. Tonight, he's there in different colours, but the approach will be exactly the same. In other news, Alistair Johnston stole the show on his TV debut for Canadian broadcaster TSN this week, and the reaction has been brilliant. The Celtic right-back has been sidelined since the autumn with a serious hamstring problem that needed surgery. He's been working his way back ever since, and while he couldn't feature for Canada during this international break, he made the trip home and stepped into the TSN Sports Centre studio instead, and by all accounts he was a natural. Johnston took on full presenting duties, handling live television with the same relaxed confidence he brings to everything he does. There was even a light-hearted moment when he complained about having to stand the whole time. He said, "I do feel at home here. It is a bit odd. I was hoping there was going to be somewhere to sit, but apparently it's a standing-only section here, which I'm going to have to get used to. I will be fine. I'm glad it's just a 60-minute sports centre, not the 90-minute big boy one." but he also gave Celtic fans the update they actually wanted. He said, "I'm definitely into that final stage of the rehab now, and it's perfect timing. We're at the tail end now of the European season, and I've still got a lot to play for at Celtic." That's the most important line. He's close. And with the right back position having been a real problem area all season, getting Johnston back in the final weeks would be a significant boost. Lastly, Alistair Johnston opened up this week on what life really looks like as a Celtic player off the pitch, and his honesty is something else. Speaking while back in Canada, the Celtic right back described the reality of living and working in Glasgow in a way that will resonate with anyone who's wondered what it's really like behind the scenes. He said, "You are a Celtic player 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a fishbowl. You can have a hat on, sunglasses, AirPods in, and dudes are running up and grabbing you. It's equivalent to being a maple leaf in Toronto." But the part that really stands out is what he said about why some players thrive and others don't. He said, "The players that survive and are successful at Celtic aren't necessarily the best players, but they're the ones with the personality to live up to it." That's a really important point. Talent gets you through the door, but the right mentality keeps you there. Glasgow's a football city like no other. Every performance is scrutinised, every result shifts the mood, and there is nowhere to hide. Johnston himself clearly has that mentality. He's been out injured for months, he's dealing with uncertainty about the end of the season, and yet he's still smiling, still engaging with fans, still representing the club the right way. That's the kind of character Celtic need more of. Also, there's a brilliant feel-good story to end on today, involving two Celtic legends and a moment that has been over 20 years in the making. Kieran Tierney and Shunsuke Nakamura came face-to-face in Glasgow this week, with Japan in town ahead of tonight's match against Scotland. Their reunion brought back a memory that has followed Tierney throughout his entire career. The story goes back to when Tierney was a young boy in the Celtic Academy. Nakamura, already a legendary figure in Gordon Strachan's side, handed him a pair of boots before leaving the club. The clip of that moment has done the rounds online for years and became iconic in Japan too. Nakamura told Tierney this week, "The video of me giving you the boots went viral in my country and made me very happy." Tierney replied, "Same here, I've still got the boots in my house." And then Nakamura said something that tells you everything about why Tierney made it to the very top. He said, "You weren't the best player on the day, but you were the most diligent and passionate player. That's why I gave you them." Tierney's response was pure class. He said, "I was very grateful when you gave me the boots. I felt so lucky, and I was buzzing. I took them into school the next day and showed all my mates and stuff." That little exchange sums up everything that makes Kieran Tierney a special player. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts.